everyone. Today I have Christian here with us today. He is a Contra Costa College alumnus. He actually graduated with an associate's degree in liberal arts and currently works for PlayStation. So thank you so much for being here with us today, Christian.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so if you could tell us more about yourself and sort of about your job, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. My name is Cristian Cardona. I don't know, I could spend probably an hour, right? There's plenty to say about yourself. I think the things I'd like to highlight for sure is that I'm first born in the United States from my family. My parents are from Guatemala. They immigrated here, and I have three siblings. My sister was born in Guatemala. Fun fact: I didn't meet her until she was 4. She was actually there until she was 4. And so we didn't meet until we were a little bit older. But yeah, so I think I'm very proud of that fact. Being able to go to school, being able to go to college was a lot of work. A great opportunity, though, it turned out, right? That's what my parents came here for. Their whole idea was just to get that education and do more than they did, and hopefully the idea is for them, to work hard so their children don't have to work as hard, and so on and so forth. So I think being able to go to CCC gave me that opportunity to be able to work within our means to continue onward and study, and eventually, I think, get to where I am now. Working at PlayStation, which is somewhere I've always wanted to be. It was certainly a motivator for me to continue my studies and to get through school and to give it a long shot. And it wound up working out for me. So I'm really, really happy about that.
That's great to hear. So, how did you end up choosing CCC before any other place?
I think honestly, frankly, it was a matter of convenience and proximity. My parents had to work. I had to work. I mean, as soon as I was able to get a job, even in high school, I think I spent my, not I think, I know I spent my senior year working part-time,
Mhm.
nights and weekends. And we needed to be able to pay bills and take care of stuff. So, you know, having the funds and the finances, or even wanting to apply for like substantial debt to go to like a straight into a 4-year college and university wasn't something that I was looking to do, and I personally didn't want that strain to be on my parents. Since I got a job, I really wanted to earn as much as I could
Mhm.
and not take from my parents' hard work. So, like CCC was a great option for that. It was nearby. I could still live at home. I can work locally. I can go to school, and the fact that I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do really also kept me from going to some major college. I mean, it's a lot of money to put down when you don't know what you're going to do with it.
Yeah.
I don't have that luxury, and so CCC really offered that opportunity to have that flexibility to figure out what I wanted to do. And frankly, I wandered around for a while, and I'm glad that I did it there versus somewhere where it was really expensive to do that. And
Mhm.
so yeah, it was wound up being really very beneficial for me.
Mhm. I know that you mentioned that you didn't really know exactly what you wanted to do. So, how did CCC or any experiences that you had sort of shape into like your career direction?
Um, I think one of the benefits I had of being there was because I had that flexibility to try, because I didn't know, right? I didn't know what I wanted. I just tried classes that I felt were interesting to me,
Mhm.
and to kind of get an idea of what I may want. You really just don't know until you start learning more about something, or until you start applying it to your life, or seeing how it connects to the things that you're interested in. And so, being able to go there allowed me to try all kinds of different classes and learn all sorts of different things. That wound up actually giving me a pretty broad view, just on various disciplines,
Mhm.
whether it was science or politics, even speech, and which actually wound up helping out a ton, because in a good portion of my career here at PlayStation was working in the marketing group and in global marketing, and a lot of that is a substantial amount of deck building, but certainly strategy and definitely presentations to small groups, large teams, entire studios. To me, critically, one of the best things I picked up from CCC was taking speech and speech classes, and practicing talking in front of groups and putting together arguments and structures of conversation, and it helped a ton actually, and it wound up helping me further down the career. Of course, I didn't see it at the time, but that's certainly something I know I picked up then that wound up helping me out a lot over the course of my career, heading into PlayStation and at PlayStation.
Got it. So yeah, for all the students out there, public speaking is important. Take it from
Yeah,
Christian. Take a public speaking class.
unless you want a job where you don't have to talk to people, which is possible, right? There are roles out there where you don't have to do a lot of that. You just kind of put your head down and do your thing.
Mhm.
Um, being able to speak publicly, or at least just having the confidence,
Yeah.
something that'll help you build the confidence to be able to have conversations publicly, is really important. You don't have to be an extrovert. I don't consider myself one. I think I'm pretty socially selective. I don't just chop it up with people I don't know randomly in some hallway or an elevator. I don't do any of that. But for me, I don't know, when I shift into that, like having to present, that presentation mode, it,
Mhm.
having those classes really gave me practice, helped me get over that fear, the anxiety, the potential embarrassment of saying the wrong thing,
Mhm.
because you got to practice all that in college, where people still might laugh at you, but I'll have them laugh at me there versus a place where I'm expecting people to take me seriously, unless I want them to laugh at me, which can be intentional too. I would highly recommend it, even if it freaks you out. One or two classes, I think it'd serve you a lot in the long run.
Perfect. So, were there any standout moments while you were at Contra Costa College?
Um, shame to say I can't quite remember my instructor's names. It's been a while now, right? But like, um, there, there was, like I said, the speech and forensics classes were awesome. They were pretty small groups. Not a lot of people apparently want to learn how to speak publicly or practice it. And so it was a pretty small crew of folks. I think it was like 12, I don't know, maybe 16 people. And we actually went to competitions, on weekends and stuff. And the idea was just to practice and get in front of people. I hated it. I didn't like having to sit down and think a lot about what I was going to say and try to, you know, not only kind of make your arguments, but try to memorize them, right? So that they're not on some giant sheet of paper you're just reading, because that's not how you present with a piece of paper in your face.
Mhm.
Um, but it was a lot of, ultimately great practice. Like it really did help a lot over time. And having that kind of small group was really cool. You felt like you had enough attention from your instructors, and I learned a lot there. And oh, I think I'm gonna mess up his name, but I think it was Dr. Duval, Mr. Duval. I took a few classes with this instructor. He was awesome. At least what my memory of it at least was like he just taught a lot of different kinds of classes, and I wound up liking. I think I was choosing geology of all things, just because I was like, just I don't know what to do. I'll just check this class out. I like science, earth sciences, and he was fascinating, at least the way that he presented and talked about things. And I just wound up taking like almost every class he had, just offered, just because he was the instructor, and I learned a ton there.
Mhm.
He had several degrees. He just was a constant learner, and I really appreciated that, like learning the plan. Believe me, the plan is not ever the plan. The plan, it was like, oh, 4 years of college, then maybe master's or doctorate, which were like out of the question for me at the time. Um, and then you're done. But no, he kept studying. I think he had like 3 or 4 masters or something like that. There, he just like kept studying even after he got through college, and it was just a passion of his. And I really, really thought that was cool, as somebody who's like continually just educating themselves and learning more. And so I wound up just learning a lot about geology, geography. I think there was like an archaeology class. I do remember very specifically during the holiday, like the October Halloween semester,
Mhm.
he did a class on like witches and demons, but it wasn't like witchcraft. But it actually, the whole class was about mythos and culture, and how people make up stories of witches and demons, the Salem witch trials, and just so you just learn about a different aspect of history and how humans behave when they don't know things, when they are afraid, or when they don't know answers, how they make answers up, and how that impacts how society develops. Is really, really cool. Really great stuff.
Got it. It's amazing to see how our professors have left such an impact on students. And I'm glad that you remember that and that you could sort of bring that on
Yeah,
with
me
you.
too. I'm glad some of it's memorable, right? For some, maybe it's just a giant blur of talking heads, but those two in particular particular, I think were really, really interesting classes, and certainly made me excited just to learn, just to know things, which wound up being helpful in my
Definitely.
job.
So far in our student interviews, we've gotten a lot of perspectives on students facing the challenges of the pandemic. I really wanted to ask you, like during your job, how did you face that shift from being in person to everything virtual, and how, like, if you faced any challenges and how you overcame them?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, we all have, I think in a way, right? We all have to find out ways to cope with stuff. I mean, I'm a parent of two kids. The circumstance might be unique. I mean, not unique. Lots of people have kids, but like, I mean, perhaps to me and my wife, but like, I think the biggest challenge is just having to change all your behaviors, right? There's so much you were able to take for granted. Going anywhere I want, whenever I want, taking trips, celebrating all those birthdays and anniversaries and all that stuff. Um, but I don't know. For us personally, I think aside from that, just kind of general stress and anxiety, right? Of like, when is this going to end? Why don't people put on masks? What's wrong with them? I kind of stop. It's I think it's been largely, thankfully, not incredibly difficult. I don't believe to cope with. I mean, we're really grateful we have parents nearby. Since a kind of familial structure, right? We all live near each other, so we're able to drop our kids off with the grandparents for a while early on, um, and we had to adapt. I mean, you had to change, and so we just kind of had to deal with it. At least I think is the deal, right? That's the way we were raised. My parents were like, bad things happen and you got to keep moving or you get trampled, right? The world keeps rolling and it's not waiting for you. And it's really maybe the super harsh lesson to have to think about. But that was kind of my mentality of like, you know, this sucks and it's terrible. You have to think it'll get better someday. But in the meantime, you just got to put your head down and do it. And I think, honestly, going to school is sometimes like that, even outside of this pandemic. It's going to be boring. You don't know what you want. You might not like the people you're dealing with. You might like the social situations you're in, but you've just got to try to put your head down and get past it because it's always in the longer like kind of view of your life. It's always just a brief moment. But you just have to kind of get through it. And so, who knows how much longer we'll be really dealing with it and the true impact of it. But I think you just gotta roll with it, and find ways to keep yourself, to take care of yourself. I think it's definitely an important thing. I find myself spending a lot of time prioritizing what I need to do to feel healthy, um, to relax, just like making sure that time is there,
Mhm.
forcing it, even if it means not connecting with other people, even if it means skipping something else that you just do to waste time. That's been very important. That's a rambly answer, but like, the best I can provide, I think.
Oh yeah, great insights.
Yeah.
So what piece of advice would you give somebody who's looking for a direction in their career or pursuing an education right now?
Um, I think there's a few things. I mean, one is that don't worry if you don't know. I mean, it's really a lot of people don't wind up doing what they're studying. So, the important thing is to get through it, just to kind of give yourself that discipline to provide yourself with just experiences outside of just, high school. But it's all right if you don't know what you want to do. You don't have to follow a 4-year track. And you may not know what you want for quite a while. So for me, that's what worked out was just the exploration, just taking classes. I meandered to a liberal arts degree. I did not focus and run into that. Like, yeah, I'm done in 2 years and I'm out. It took me a while because I just didn't know what I want to do, and I had bills to pay, and I had a family I wanted to help out.
Mhm.
So I think just I wouldn't really stress about not knowing what you want to do. The ideal is to just look around and take classes and do things until you find something that you like, and see if there's something you can make out of that,
Mhm.
right? Whether it's turning that into a career in hospitality, if you just really like talking and interacting with people. If you just are all about money, then go find the highest paying jobs and put your head down and go study for that, right? Go
Mhm.
be an engineer, go be an entrepreneur and take that risk. I think ideally you want to try to find something that you don't hate doing
Mhm.
for a lot of hours a week when it comes down to it. And so,
Mhm.
ideally you love it. Ideally you enjoy it. But certainly try to find something you like and focus your energy around studying that, learning that, and thinking ahead to what that might turn into, what kind of job, what kind of careers this might be. where you might find yourself. Because I personally feel it's important to be at least content with what you're doing career-wise, because it's going to suck if you hate it. I'll tell you that.
Great advice. So my very last question for you is, what do you like to do outside of work?
I like to do what my work does or sells. Like I love video games. I mean, so I like entertainment. It's fun. It's so great. I'm so glad I get to work at a video game company. It's when I realized what I finally wanted to do, I wound up, being, I think it's a whole series of serendipitous events, but I wound up working at a video game company. I work at PlayStation, so I play my PlayStation. So I feel like I have my PlayStation controller right here, and so I play video games. I watch movies, film. I read books. I definitely like that kind of entertainment. And as soon as something clears out, certainly I think more than anything, I've taken for granted. We've taken for granted the ability just to go do whatever we want. So
Mhm.
I'm definitely looking forward to focusing on having a list of things that I wanted to do, said I would do, and just like making a plan to do them. If that's saving up money, if that's finding the time, if that's finding people to do something with, it's going to get done. Because the fact that we lost over a year for a lot of reasons, I think to me is a big deal. I mean, like now I'm definitely looking forward to, I don't want to call it a bucket list because I don't, plan on dying soon, but like, just a list of things to do. Make that list, and I'm definitely going to look hard at that list.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for just sharing your story, your insights, and amazing advice. I hope that our audience really takes that deeply as well, because everyone's going through challenges and it's great to see
Yeah.
people's stories. So yeah, thank you again, Cristian.
Thanks for having me. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, so please stay tuned for the next student interviews that are coming. We have many more coming for you, and we hope you have a great day. Thank you.